Everyone. Are we recording? Are we ready? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Winston-Salem Urban Area Technical Coordinating Committee meeting. Let's see. So due to the pandemic, all members of the Winston-Salem Urban Area Technical Coordinating Committee meeting are participating virtually. All members will vote by a roll call. By this, we mean that each member will be recognized, and at that time, the member will state his or her vote. I will now ask our Secretary, Kelly Garvin, to call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Kelly Bennett.
Here.
Tamika is here. See Loretta.
I'm here.
Andy Baker.
Here.
Alex Wiltonberry.
I am present, thank you.
Pat Ivy.
I'm here.
Pat.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm here. Kirk Erickson.
Here.
Masser. Masser.
Kelly, you may want to speak up a little bit. You're a little soft.
Apologize.
Did you call me?
Yes.
All right, I'm here.
There you go. I'm sorry. Chris Jensen.
Present.
And is Stacy Tolbert?
Here.
Go. Misty Meadows.
I'm here.
Amy Flight.
I'm here. Thank you.
Mark Kirshner.
Here.
And I think that does it. We do have quorum.
All right, very well. Is there anyone that Kelly didn't call?
This is Donna Woodson. I don't know if you called me prior to me logging in. I was having some issues connecting, but I am present.
Okay.
Thank you, Donna. All right. Well, thank you all very much for coming. At this time, we will move into our public comment period. I know that we do have a new member that has joined us, Alex Rotenberry, with Integrated Mobility Division. Alex, did you want to take this opportunity to say anything to the group?
Yes, absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to move my window right at you. There we go. My name is Alex Rotenberry. I am a planner here at the Integrated Mobility Division here at NCDOT. We're a pretty new division, kind of a mashup of public transportation and bike ped. So that's kind of been happening over time, well before I started. My background is I worked in a couple of MPOs in the state of Missouri before this. So I am very comfortable and familiar with the work products that come out of an MPO, and I'm very, very happy to join you all. So think of me as a resource for bike ped and multimodal projects moving forward. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Alex. All right, Kelly, was there anyone else that wanted to speak during the public comment period, or anyone I overlooked?
Not that I know of.
All right. Okay, then we will move into the rest of our agenda, which will be our action items and then our items for information for future action. So the first item would be the consideration of the January 18 TCC meeting minutes. The meeting minutes are enclosed. I hope that you all had an opportunity to review and would ask if anyone wanted to make a motion or if there were any corrections, I guess, at first. And if not, if anyone would like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval.
All right, who was that? It didn't pop up on my screen.
Nasreen Zitto will make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
All right, very good, Nasser. Would anyone like to second that motion?
I'll be second.
Thank you, Pat. All right, it has been properly moved and seconded that we will approve the agenda from last month. Kelly, please call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Tanique,
Yes.
Andy Bailey,
Yes.
Pat, voted yes. I vote yes. Kirk Erickson,
Yes.
Nasser voted yes. Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Stacy Tolbert,
Yes.
Misty Meadows,
Yes.
and Amy Blight. Amy Blight,
Yes.
sorry. Apologies. Mark Kirshner,
Yes.
Donna Woodson,
Yes.
and that concludes it. Passes unanimously. You're muted.
Sorry. I thought that little burst of sugar would help me. I don't think it's helped. Okay. We'll move on to our next item, which is the consideration of the fiscal year 2020 through 2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program amendments and modifications for the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO. For that, we'll have Byron Grant.
Good afternoon, everyone. The 2020-2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program is a listing of all the projects programmed for the Winston-Salem urban area. This document is a subset of the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and reflects projects programming included in the state's Transportation Improvement Program. NCDOT regularly updates the STIP to include new projects and modify existing ones. This could be done for reasons such as funding, municipal requests, or schedule changes. Statewide projects are projects which are located in our planning area as their schedules, funding, and programming is also modified. These changes are reflected in our NTIP. Including your materials are project modifications, additions, and deletions, including the multi-use path construction from Salem Parkway to Strowway has been delayed construction from fiscal year 21 to fiscal year 22. Rural Road sidewalk construction has been delayed for additional planning and design, as well as Fairlawn Drive sidewalk construction being delayed for planning and design. These amendments were made available for public review from December 6, 2021 to January 9, 2022 per our public participation policy. No comments were received during that time. I'll be happy to answer any questions about these amendments.
Thank you, Byron. Does anyone have questions for Byron? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Kelly Garvin, I'll make the motion.
Very good.
Mark Kirshner, second.
Thank you, Mark. It's been moved and seconded. Kelly, can you please call the roll for the vote?
Yes, ma'am. Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Tanique,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
I voted yes. Kirk,
Yes.
Nasser, Nasser,
Yes. Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Misty.
Yes.
I see Dan has joined us. Dan,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Mark voted yes, and Donna.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, very good. All right, our next item will be the consideration of a checklist certifying the Winston-Salem urban area MPO's transportation planning process for fiscal year 2022 through 2023. Byron, you're up again.
All right. For this item, the Fixing America Surface Transportation Act, or FAST Act, requires the North Carolina Department of Transportation and all metropolitan planning organizations in the state to annually self-certify their planning processes are in accordance to federal highway and transit administration provisions of federal law. The attached self-certification process and documentation includes a checklist that has been completed by staff. This checklist shows that the NPO's transportation planning process is adequately addressing the major issues of our planning of our urban area. In fall of 2020, FTA and FHWA conducted a formal review of the Winston-Salem urban area NPO planning process and found that it was carried out substantially in compliance. I'll be happy to answer any questions about this item.
Thank you, Byron. Are there any questions for Byron? All right, hearing none, would anyone like to make a motion?
Andy Bailey, so moved.
Thank you,
Kirk
Andy.
Erickson, second.
Thank you, Kurt. It has been moved and seconded that we will accept this item. Kelly, please call the roll for the vote.
Yeah. Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Fanique,
Yes.
Andy voted yes. Pat,
Yes.
I vote yes. Kirk voted yes. Nasser,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Chris Jensen,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
and Donna.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. All right, we will move on to item number 5, which is the consideration of targets for safety performance measures established by the North Carolina Department of Transportation and amending the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. For this item, we'll have Hunter Stazak.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all the members of the TCC. The item before you today is an action item for the adoption of safety performance measures established by the North Carolina Department of Transportation and amending the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Per the Federal Highway Administration's Highway Safety Improvement Program Final Rule 23 CFR Part 490, the North Carolina Department of Transportation must coordinate the establishment of safety targets with the metropolitan planning organizations in the state. Last year, on January 21st, 2021, the Winston-Salem TAC approved a resolution of support for the safety performance measure targets established by the state. In accordance with the federal guidelines, the review of progress toward meeting these goals must be tracked and recorded annually in the Highway Safety Improvement Plan annual report. Before I move forward with discussing the measures and targets for 2022, I'd like to quickly note that the rates are expressed in terms of per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. So with that, the 5 measures and targets identified for 2022 include number 1, for the 2022 Highway Safety Improvement Plan, the goal is to reduce total fatalities by 12.17% from 1,428.8 to 1,254.9. The second goal is to reduce the fatality rate by 13.78% from 1.226 to 1.057. The third goal is to reduce total serious injuries by 19.79% from 4,410.2 to to 3,537.6. The fourth goal is to reduce the serious injury rate by 21.68% from 3.782 to 2.962. And fifth goal is to reduce total non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries by 17.93% from 592.2 to 486.0. And all of these 5 goals are by the end of 2022 or December 31st, 2022. On August 31st, 2021, North Carolina Department of Transportation set the above targets for the safety performance measures. MPOs may either adopt the targets set by the state and agree to program projects in support of the targets or set their own. North Carolina MPOs have 180 days or until February 27th, 2022 to either adopt the state's targets or set their own. The Winston-Salem urban area MPO will adopt the state's targets. This information will be amended in the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Later today at the Transportation Advisory Committee, we will have 2 members from North Carolina Department of Transportation, Brian Murphy and Brian Mayhew, deliver a presentation on the safety targets, as well as general traffic safety trends throughout the state and our MPO. I will now take any questions.
Very good, Hunter. Are there any questions for Hunter? Hearing none, would anyone like to make a motion to adopt this item?
Motion that we,
Donna Woodson, I'll make a motion to adopt the safety targets and performance measures established by the North Carolina DOT.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Nasser. Kelly, can you please call the roll for the vote?
Yes, ma'am. Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Monique,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
I vote yes. Kirk,
Yes.
Nasser voted yes. Chris,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
and Donna voted yes, so it's unanimous.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our last action item for the day, which is the consideration of a request to authorize the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO to enter into an agreement with the Eastern Transportation Coalition to access air transportation data for the purposes of transportation planning and engineering. For this item, we'll have Matthew Burchak.
Thank you, Tanique, and good afternoon, everybody. NCDOT is a partner agency in the Eastern Transportation Coalition, which is a group of 17 states and the District of Columbia focused on connecting public agencies across modes of travel to increase safety and efficiency. As a member of that coalition, NCDOT has access to transportation data through HERE Technologies, which is a data aggregation and representation company focused on providing transportation data to governments and businesses. NCDOT has invited MPOs and member jurisdictions to access this data to assist planning efforts at the regional and local levels. To access that data, though, each agency must sign a data use agreement with the coalition. Once that data use agreement has been executed, our MPO will be able to access the transportation data to assist our planning and our decision making. There's no financial obligation for the MPO to enter into this agreement with the coalition to access the data. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have about this one.
Thank you, Matthew. Does anyone have questions for Matthew? All right, would anyone like to make a motion on this last item for the day?
Mark Kirshner, so moved.
Thank you, Mark. Is there a second?
Donna Woodson, second.
Thank you, Donna. It's been moved and seconded. Kelly, can you please call the roll for the vote?
Yes, ma'am. Kelly Bennett,
Yes.
Tanique,
Yes.
Andy, Andy? He may have dropped. Pat?
Yes.
I vote yes. Kirk?
Yes.
Nasser?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Misty?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Mark voted yes, and Donna voted yes. So that concludes the votes. Unanimous.
Very good. Thank you. I look forward to the day when we're all back face to face.
Me too.
Amen.
Yes.
All right, so we will move on to our item number 7, which is an information item for future action. And it is the review of the fiscal year 2020 through 2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program amendments and modifications for the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO. And that will be Byron Brown to cover it.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Again, the 2020-2029 Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program is a listing of all the projects program for the Winston-Salem urban area. This document, again, is a subset of the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and reflects projects programming included in the state's Transportation Improvement Program. NCDOT regularly updates the STIP to include new projects and modify existing ones. Again, this can be done for reasons such as funding, municipal requests, or schedule changes. Statewide projects are projects which are located in our planning area. As their schedules, funding, and programming is modified, these changes are reflected in our MTIP. Including your materials are project modifications, additions, and deletions, including future I-74 noise wall construction. There was a correction to a fiscal year misprint, now shows construction being scheduled for fiscal year 22. Funding modifications for parts, capital, and operations to fiscal year 26 have also been approved. These amendments were made available for the public review from February 5th. That should be 2022 to March 9th, 2022, our public participation policy. Any comments will come back during the March meeting. I'll be happy to answer any questions about this item.
Very good. Are there any questions for Byron? All right, then we will move on into our staff reports. And we will start off with our report from NCDOT Division 9.
Very good. Thank you, Tanique. This is Pat. I think there's a report in your packet, and I think an updated report was emailed out with the agenda as well. All the projects that are under construction are self-explanatory. Unless there are questions, I will let you peruse that information at your leisure. Just a couple of things I wanted to update you all on. There are on projects under development. We've got about 3 projects that are going to be moving to construction status later this year. The first one is B5770, which is the replacement of the bridge on Salisbury Ridge Road over Peters Creek Parkway. That project's on schedule to be awarded in April. The safety project in Stokes County at Highway 65 and Pine Hall Road, that is a safety project, and it's scheduled for September. And of course, the last segment of the Eastern Beltway 2579 AA is scheduled for letting in October of this year. We're also planning on schedule to begin right-of-way acquisition on two pretty significant projects in the area. The first one, U5536, which is the Great Wagon Road in Louisville. That should begin in March. And then the Kernersville Southern Loop, Big Mill Farm Road and Hopkins Road, U5760. We should begin right-of-way acquisition in April on those projects. The rest of my report is up to date. Tanique, if you don't mind, I would like to address one other issue that would be beneficial, I think, for all the TCC members moving forward, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, go ahead.
All of you know that we are working through the process of developing the new state TIP. which is scheduled for release, a draft release in December this year. Obviously, funding with the additional cost increases and things like that, we've already indicated and told everyone that there would be no new projects included in this next version of the TIP, and many projects that are currently classified as delivery projects would no longer be delivery projects or set in the first 5 years. Many of those may be delayed depending on the funding that's actually available. To that end, what I wanted to do, there are many of the shown on my list, many EB projects that are shown in various municipalities across the MPO. Many of those EB projects are funded in the division needs category. Historically, I think you all know that when there have been cost increases associated with these projects, they are typically reviewed by our Mike Stanley in our Raleigh office and are pretty much handled. They're absorbed into the program. With the numbers that we're talking about and the available budget, we're going to be looking at these much closer moving forward. Whenever there is a funding or a cost increase that's associated with these projects, we will probably be having meetings with the affected municipality on these. And as part of that, number one, making sure we understand the need for the cost increase. And then number two, probably most important, folks, is looking for a plan of how to address that. Because there are no new additional funds in the division needs category. If we see, just for instance, if we see a $500,000 increase on an EB project, we're going to be looking for some guidance from the municipality on how best to cover that project, either through other funding sources, number two, delaying other EB projects to help absorb the cost increase for this one, or looking at other division needs project that may be in another mode, such as a highway project that might be delayed in that area to cover those costs. These are very different times, as you know, that we're in, and I just wanted to point this out to everybody because moving forward, we're going to have to be doing things different than we've done in the past. We've actually got a meeting tomorrow, I believe, with the Winston-Salem staff on a particular project that we're going to be talking about. So I just wanted to put that out there. Does anybody have any questions that I might be able to address on this topic, or any questions on any road topics that I mentioned earlier?
Pat, this is Kelly. I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When we're talking about those EB projects, we're not talking about projects that are DA funded, right? We're talking about
very, very good distinction, and I appreciate you bringing that up. DA projects are not included in this because, as you know, you all handle the budget on that already, and that is, although that funding source does come out of the division needs category, it is a individual source in itself, and the MPO manages that. So that is not included in what I'm talking about. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you. Thank you for that update, Pat. I think that was helpful.
No problem. Thank you a lot.
Pat, before you move on, I got a question. It's a real basic question. It's more a clarification. I'm looking at R2247B, and I'm seeing that the description, I'm looking at the 22 Northern Beltway project map, and I'm noticing that there's R-2247BA and R-2247BB, but the description in what you provided is pretty much the same if you combine the two. I don't know if, the map is 2020, if it's a little dated. I'm assuming that the B is just combined together, or if that's just clarification that needs to be made.
That is correct. That is actually, it is old information, but the B project is essentially north of the 421 interchange up to down to Interstate 40, And I believe that actually includes the Interstate 40 interchange itself. Previously, I think they may have been split apart for programming purposes, but we're now looking to combine BA and BB into one project.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And let me make one other statement as well. I had a note and I completely forgot. We mentioned, or it was mentioned earlier about a TIP amendment for U2579BB. Beginning next month, we will add that to our report as we, when we went through the Beltway project, the B section, we did a noise analysis. And after the project was completed, we did discover an error in our original analysis. And we are going back and we are actually adding an additional noise wall in the area of Martin Mill Creek. So that is designated as 2577 or 2579 BB. And the let date for that project is currently scheduled at June of this year. So I appreciate Byron bringing that up, but that's what that project is, and it will show up on our list next month. That will end my report.
Thank you, Pat. We always enjoy your report. You always have great information. Does anyone else have questions for Pat? All right. Thanks again. We will move on to the Winston-Salem Urban Area MPO Transportation Project update by Kelly.
I don't really have much to add. I encourage everybody to make sure to update the status of your project, not just with me, but also with Division 9, Jeff Turner. If he doesn't ask me, he will ask you about what the status is, so that we can keep the schedule current in the STIP. And also coming up next month, we will share the results of our DA call for project, and those projects will also be added to this list once it's approved by the TAC in March. So.
All right. Any questions for Kelly? Okay, we'll move on. NCDOT Transportation Planning update. And that wouldn't be Daryl, that is.
That's Andy.
Andy, yes.
So I got a couple of things. Number one, this is for the MPO as well as your staff that are involved with the UPWP. The last date you can submit UPWP amendments for this fiscal year is April 19th. I believe that's been provided in the calendar that's previously been sent to you. But as long as you have something ongoing and you let me know ahead of time, I can make that work just for your benefit. And I hope I'm not out of order here in asking Alex Rottenberry to tell a little bit about what's going on with IMD right now, because I tried to speak to this a little bit in my meeting in Burlington a couple of days ago, and Alex had quite a bit more to share. And so if that's okay, can we turn it over to Alex?
Yes, we can.
Oh, so much pressure, Andy. Okay. All right. So I have a lot of stuff to talk about, but I think what he's referring to in particular is some complete streets trainings that are going on right now. We recently put a release out last week regarding some training. So we've done an update to our complete streets policy here at NCDOT. And in regards to that, this is another side of the shop than me, but they've been working very hard at doing some qualifications and quantifications of complete streets, and they're finally ready to roll out many of the things that we're working. So they've scheduled a number of kind of trainings, same training. It was 5 or 6 different times. I believe the ones for this week are now over. Let me just go ahead and copy and paste everything I was going to talk about in the chat. It's the very first bullet item though, along with the URL. So there is trainings that are happening next week. There's one at 10 a.m. on the 22nd, which is Tuesday, one at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, the 23rd, and one on 10 a.m. Wow, okay, we got a theme going, on Friday, the 25th. And so those are the last 3 trainings. They're also in our press release. We're also saying that if you would want something more specialized to be presented at one of your meetings, such as this one, that we could reach out to the division offices. And if they're not yet have the capacity to do that, then, well, I guess you'd be stuck with me. So I might be the one giving such a presentation. But certainly I think we'd be willing to and happy to talk more about this at TCC or TAC or whatever you think is appropriate moving forward into March. So that's kind of the main thing we're doing. Also wanted to make folks aware of a couple of funding opportunities. So there's a couple of grants that we don't have anything to do with, but like the AARP Community Challenge Grant, certainly the RAISE grant through the federal, formerly the Tiger and Build grants are open for applications right now. The Watch for Me program, which I think is through UNC, is currently open. I think their last day for application for something like that is tomorrow, actually. And of course, we just put out a call out for our transportation demand management for all of our transit friends on the call. So a lot of stuff there, but I tried to put everything in there for you all so you could sort through it, look at it at your own pleasure moving forward. But I think I'll stop there because I feel like I've been talking for an eternity. Do you guys have any questions for me?
All right. Andy
I
and
just,
Alex. Go ahead, Kelly.
I just forwarded to everybody the how you can sign up for the Complete Streets training. So you should have received an email from me while Alex was talking about Complete Streets training and the dates.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Very good. All right. Well, no other questions. We will move to our next item on the agenda, which is the FHWA update. And I don't think it's Suzette.
No, it's Loretta, and I
Loretta?
don't have
Okay.
anything. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Loretta. It's always great to hear from you. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Loretta while she's here? Very good. All right, we'll move to the next, which is our Piedmont Triad Regional Council of Governments update. And do we have anyone here for that? Didn't think so. Nope. All right, Forsyth County OEAP air quality update. All right. Bicycle and pedestrian facilities projects update. I know that Matthew's here.
Yeah, thank you, Tanique. I just wanted to make a quick plug for the Piedmont Legacy Trails Summit. So the Piedmont Legacy Trails is kind of a joint venture between Piedmont Land Conservancy and the Piedmont Triad Regional Council, and they do an annual summit. And this year it will be a 4-part hybrid series. So they'll have a virtual meeting in the morning and then a field trip in the afternoon. And that is happening, I think it's every Friday in the month of March. And it's only $25 to register. You have access to all of those 4 sessions. And one of the speakers this year is actually Mitchell Silver, who is former planning director for the city of Raleigh, and most recently the former commissioner for the city of New York, their parks department. And he's back in North Carolina, I believe, working in the private sector. So he's speaking. It should be a really good lineup of the meetings as well as the field visits. So I'll share a link in the chat box so everybody can see the registration information for that, but I encourage everybody to check that out and sign up if you can.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Were there any questions for Matthew? All right, we will move on to the Winston-Salem Transit Authority. Donna?
I don't have anything to report this month.
Okay. The Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation. Mark?
Yes, good afternoon, Tanique and everyone. I've got two bits of good news in the transportation planning field and travel demand modeling. Hopefully by the end of June, we will have a functional tour-based freight model that will be incorporated into the overall travel demand model. A quick history, this project probably started in 2014. Phase one was the collection of some local data about freight facilities and carriers in the area. Phase two was the development of the model. And phase three, which has been delayed by COVID and other challenges getting local freight data, sort of wrapped up with a data collection piece. And the consultant is now moving on using the driver surveys that we did collect, as well as ATRI and streetlight data to be able to complete that process. So the significance is as the MPOs move into planning for their 2025 MTPs, hopefully this freight model will be add some value to the freight chapters within the MTPs. The second item of good news I may have mentioned before, or you may have heard that we're doing a household travel survey, which is again information that feeds into the overall travel demand model. The last time an actual survey was done in this region was back in the 1990s. About 8 or 10 years ago, there was some purchased data through FHWA, but this will be the first full household travel survey in, as I can say, a number of years. We're still in the process of going through some of the administrative and contracting work. The contractor is Westat, and we hope to begin a pilot survey late spring, early summer, and the full survey this fall and winter. One thing to control cost and to give us an opportunity to participate, we'll be asking staffs at the MPOs, and it could be friends and families as well of the MPO, to participate in the pilot study. This reduced cost by because the consultant won't need to go out and recruit people through mailings or other ways. So it's really not that many surveys that have to be completed for the pilot, but we'll get a chance to do that. The other way that we'll be helping cities and towns and MPOs and other agencies and authorities across the area is helping to promote the survey and recruit people. This will be by passing out flyers at public meetings and maybe flowers too at public meetings, trying to get people to participate in the survey. We'll need about 4,800 surveys completed to have an adequate sample for the whole region. So again, it's a good chance for the MPOs to connect with the public and trying to promote the household travel survey. Be glad to answer any questions about either of those two projects.
All right, Mark. Was there anyone that had questions for Mark? All right, very good. We will move now to Davidson County Transportation. Richard?
Hello, how are y'all? The only thing I'd like to add to the report that's in there is we're in the process of working on our package for the FTA for becoming a direct recipient of NCDOT. IMD division is relinquishing oversight of all the small urban systems. So by July 1st, we're supposed to be a direct recipient. And it's a lot of stuff. I can leave it at that, but I'll answer any questions.
Well, good luck, Richard, and we're here to offer support.
Thank you.
Any questions for Richard? All right. Before we go to Title VI, I did want to go back up. I realized that Carter Spradling is here. Carter, did you have anything for Piedmont Triad Regional Council of Governments to share with the group?
No, I don't have an update. I do want to apologize for being late, though. I had severe technical difficulties, but no update.
Okay, very good. Well, we're just happy that you made it. All right, I'll go on now to the Title VI compliance update. Marlene?
Good afternoon, and thank you, Tanique. No new updates at this moment.
All right. Any questions for Marlene? Okay, then our MPO calendar of activities. Byron.
Just wanted to point out that the NCAMPO conference is April 18th through 20th. I need to check that date. But the registration is open. Please register if you have not already done so. That is all I had.
Byron, I think it's the 20th through the 22nd.
Yeah, I was looking at that number that didn't look right to me. Thank you for that correction.
Thank you, Loretta. And any questions for Byron? All right, the ethics liaison, Kelly.
My only update is to please help me by reminding your elected official that sits on the TAC to complete their ethics. It's due by April 15th. I have seen some already and I'm still waiting for others. So if there's anything that I can do to help, let me know. And don't wait till the last minute. Go ahead and just encourage them to do that now. That's all I have.
All right, any questions for Kelly? All right, and then our Moving Times newsletter, the first quarter, 2022. Hunter.
Hi, as Tanique mentioned, yep, this is the first quarter newsletter for 2022. I just wanted to say thank you to all of those in the TCC and outside of the TCC who helped contribute to make those articles happen. And I wanted to give everyone a heads up that we will be reaching out at the start of next week because we will be starting to collect articles for the April edition.
All right. Any questions for Hunter? So glad to see that we are back in putting this together, and it looks it's put together very well, Hunter. So great job on that.
Thank you.
Okay. So our next meeting is scheduled for March 17th, 2022. And before I ask if we will adjourn, is there anyone else that had anything for the benefit of the group? All right, then I ask that you make a motion, someone, that we adjourn.
So moved, Pat Ivy.
Thank you, Pat. And a second?
Kelly Garvin, second.
Okay, I got a lot of seconds that time. So I think that we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You be safe, and we'll hope to see you at the TAC meeting at 4:15. Have a good one.
Thank you.